My name is Portia Kobue, and the name of my brand is Loeto. It's a Setswana word meaning the journey. The reason why this line of kimonos is called Loeto is because it was inspired by my youngest brother's passing tragically when he was on a journey to Botswana. Although it was a physical journey, it was also a spiritual journey because 2 years before his passing, he was initiated into one of the African traditional churches, which we loosely refer to as Mapostolo. So, and when this happened, the family, including myself, was all embracing of this new journey that he embarked on. So the inspiration behind this kind of like designs is obviously, as you can see as well by the kimono that I'm wearing, is it shows the flamboyance of the clothing that these apostolic faith churches normally wear. We see them all around South Africa, especially over the weekends. They look very regal, but they also look very flowing, like the flowing robes of the biblical apostles and all that. And this design here at the back actually symbolizes a star, and the significance of this is that it was actually in the actual robes that my brother wore. So I just incorporated it into the design. Similarly, the rope detail in some of the kimonos also signifies the ropes that they tie around. They are very grand robes. So that was the inspiration for that. This range of kimonos I designed with the owner and designer of Bolanangabe, Mzamo, who's a friend of mine. I've known Mzamo exactly for 1 year, and when we met, we just connected. And she was really the engine behind this. I only conceptualized it, but all the designs as you see them are really her work. Yeah. As Mzamo would say, the owner of the Bolanangabe design, we all have stories, right? And whatever we do in our daily lives, there's a story behind what we do. And these garments are really a reflection of that, of my story, Mzamo's story, and our combined story, and my brother's story. One of the reasons why I started this line in memory of my brother is actually because I've always wondered about the communities that attend these churches. Notably young women and young men that we find in these churches. And one of my thoughts, long before my brother actually, was initiated into this, church, I did think about how society and communities can actually leverage on these churches and these religious groupings to actually empower young men and young women, because that's where we find them. As we know that we have a lot of challenges in our country. One of them is gender-based violence, and generally the abuse of women and children. And it did cross my mind that there is opportunity in these formations, in these religious formations, to actually capture young minds and empower them to live more fulfilling lives and to be empowered to say no to gender-based violence.
My name is Mzamo Bruce. I am the head designer and owner of the brand Bolanangabe, which basically means speak Nangabe. Bola is a Sakalahadi word for speak, and Nangabe is my given Sakalahadi name. I basically speak through threads and beautiful fabrics and beautiful clothes, and I buy a lot of my fabrics from various parts of the continent when I travel. And I basically come from a background of economic justice, which is really about redistributing and creating economic opportunities for people who are at the bottom of the social strata or at the bottom of our economic systems. That's the work that I do on a daily basis. And what I like to do when I visit different continents, different parts of the continent, is to go to the markets and buy directly from the weavers themselves, buy from the women that you see trading in the market, selling fabrics, selling artifacts, making the beadwork for the accessories that I carry here, the ornaments in the sense of the baskets that you see in this studio. And I bring this back to South Africa and make just beautiful clothes. But with these clothes, with every single piece that you get from the Bolanangabe, there's a story behind it. There's a story behind what inspires the design, but there's also a story behind where the fabrics and the materials themselves come from. Starting with the fabrics themselves, like you will see in the store, there's different pieces that would be trimmed with kente. Some are trimmed with mud cloth, some with the indigo from West Africa. But what I do is a lot of my clothes that are trimmed with the kente fall within my sustainable line. And the reason is I am buying old antique pieces that we then upcycle, right? So we create something new out of the old. And by so doing, we are reducing there's a problem of dumping and consumerism that is so high that we're constantly out buying fast fashion and things that we throw away. But this is to build into that culture of reuse and recycling, and previously loved items become so beautiful when I then mix them with other items. The other thing that I do is I work mainly with natural fabrics. But I think when we think about sustainability, we also have to think about how we sustain livelihoods of people who are involved in the production. Like I said, I buy from the markets. Most of the women in the informal markets who are selling these fabrics are women who have to sell the fabrics in order to be able to feed their families, in order to be able to educate their children. And with sustainability comes social sustainability, which really does start at the individual and at the household level. The other thing that you will see is we've got baskets that come from northern Ghana, and they're made out of reeds, and there is an out of grass. Sustainable use of natural resources is how our people in the continent have been able to support their livelihoods and support income for a multitude of rural communities. And we know that when it comes to job creation in rural spaces, our rural economy still struggle with that. So being able to buy from an artisan is powerful in the form of providing opportunities for income for communities that otherwise have got very limited livelihood options. I've got, again, on the line of sustainability and supporting livelihoods, is you will see with some of the accessories, this is beadwork that comes out of Kalahari in Botswana. I refer to this as love letters from Kalahari. And I say it's a love letter from Kalahari because, as you can see, the design is intricate. It takes patience, it takes generations of traditional knowledge to be able to know how to make this. But where these necklaces come from in Botswana is one of the most underdeveloped regions in a country that is a medium income country, in a country that really should not have any poverty at all. But where this is being sourced from, that's where the deepest pockets of poverty are in the country. And yet there is this talent and the opportunities to actually make a difference in the income that a lot of the craft makers. This is like done by the Basara in South Africa and Namibia. You would refer to them as the Bushmen. In Botswana, that term is controversial, but it's the Basara, the Narwa, Kunukwe. It really depends on the group and its locality.